Hello everyone. We're going to talk about vocabulary, and today we're going to be clicking and dragging the definition and examples to the correct box. So I had color coordinated it for you. The definitions are with a blue background. So over here you have blue background, so those are going to be your definitions. And then my examples are white backgrounds, so you're going to have the white backgrounds so to help you place them in the correct columns. So this week for math, we're going to be talking about exponents, and that's our first word in our chart. And an exponent is the value that specifies how many times the base will be multiplied by itself. So when we deal with exponents and talking about them, you have what is called a base and an exponent. Your base is that big number, and your exponent is that tiny number in the right corner of that big number. And what that little number does is it tells you how many times you're going to be multiplying your base by itself. So your exponent is that little number. So we're looking for an example. So we're going to look at our white backgrounds, and we're looking for one that is pointing to that little number. So we have a 3 but no arrow, a 2 with no arrow, and a 5 but there's a 3 as the exponent with an arrow pointing to it. So that's going to be our example. So we're going to click on it, and we are going to drag it into our box. Now, when I was telling you about what an exponent it was, I said the word base. Base is like that big number that you have. So for example, in 5 to the third power, or 5 cubed, the 5 is going to be our base. So if we look over here, we are looking for one that tells us that we have a base that is being multiplied repeatedly. Okay, so let's read our example, our definition. So we have the way you write the answer for an exponent, the number that is being multiplied repeatedly. So there it is. The number, which is that 5, is being multiplied repeatedly. So we would sit, for example, for if we had 5 to the third power, or 5 cubed, we would sit here and do 5 times 5 times 5. So pointing to the 2, that's your base. So that 2 is being multiplied so we would write it out as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So that would be 4 2's being multiplied by each other. Your next word that in your chart is exponential form. Exponential form is an exponent that is written with a base and a power. Look at our examples here. We are looking for one that has the base and the power. So if they were to write 2 times 2 times 2 in expanded form, you have 2 times 2 times 2, the expanded form, and if you were to put it in exponential form, that would be 2 to the third power. So we're going to drag that to our box and put it as our example. Now we have the word cubed. If you think of a cube, it is a three-dimensional shape. So that is an easy way to remember what cubed means. Cubed is when it tells you, the exponent tells you that it has a value of 3 for the exponent. So that means you will multiply whatever you have, or whatever your base is, by 3. Or you would repeat it 3 times. So I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. So it tells you what the exponent has a value of 3. So you're looking for your exponent. Remember, your exponent is your little number that is a 3. So that would be our 3 to the third power, or 3 cubed is how you would say it. So that's like saying 3 times 3 times 3. You also have the word squared. That's the same thing like cubed, but a square is a two-dimensional shape. So that tells you that your exponent is a 2, and it tells you that you're going to use your base being multiplied by itself 2 times. So you would do 3 times 3. If we were doing expanded forms meaning you're expanding it, you're making it larger. So if I were to give you 8 to the 4th power, you are going to do 8 times 8 times 8 times 8. So that means that 8 times 8 would be our example. And we're looking for a definition that tells us it is the way you write the answer for an exponent written as repeated multiplication. So you are going to say it is an exponent that it has repeated multiplication. And then you have standard form. Standard form is just the fancy way of saying the answer to your exponent. So that would be 25 is an answer to an exponent. So we would drag our answer to an exponent. Now I want you to think about what would be our exponent if our exponential form if our answer is 25. I want you to think about that, and we're going to come back to that.